Hello and welcome to the March edition of Community Connect, brought to you by the Marshall Area Chamber of Commerce. This month's guest is Preston Stensrud. Preston is the Park and Recreation Superintendent for the City of Marshall. Thanks for being our guest this month.
Thanks for having me, Brad.
Let's talk a little bit about February. We had an uptick of events in February, and it's good to see. Some of the winter sports, however, have sadly come to an end, such as SMSU basketball and Tiger hockey. Congratulations to all of our winter teams that are done, and good luck to the teams that are still going, such as the Tiger basketball teams that are still going. Speaking of which, SMSU Tropical Night at SMSU Mustang basketball games was earlier in February. Always well attended, and this year was no different. Thanks to everybody who came out to the Tropical Night here on campus. The inaugural job fair at the Marshall High School was on February 17th. This was a Friday morning. This is new. This is put on by the Private Industry Council with partnerships with the high school and the chamber. We had about 40 businesses that were on location that morning, and it was really good because all the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders all went through, as well as the students from Maytech. Good visibility, especially for those businesses that were looking for employees for the summer. They could talk about tuition assistance and a whole lot of things for college. Really good event, and I look forward to seeing how well this job fair grows year after year. That same night here on campus was the 20th annual Gold Rush Raffle. Always a fun event, and I'm proud to talk about the amount that was raised, which is over $70,000, which goes back to student athlete scholarships. The big winner was Dr. Jerry Tolan. Jerry Tolan was the big winner of, was it $2,500, I believe? Preston, you were there. A good time, isn't it?
Yes, it was a great time. Good to get out and just talk to people and have a good time on campus.
Yeah, that is one event that never stopped. It was one of the last larger events that went on before COVID-19 hit 3 years ago, and then we had it in June of 2021, and it hasn't stopped. One of the most fun events in Marshall all year long. And you're right, I mean, there's a lot of people that come down. We sell nearly about 700 tickets, and about half of that count comes each and every year to the RA facility. So, all right, that brings us to our guest. Again, Preston is with the City of Marshall, Park and Recreation Superintendent. That's a big job. He oversees a lot of department, a lot of staff here in the City of Marshall. And, you know, I came back to the City of Marshall, moved back here in the summer of 2014, and that was right when the new park got built across Highway 23, I forget what it's called. Patriot Park, great looking park. My son had baseball practice our first summer back too. Great spot, but we have a lot to talk about, and a lot of exciting things that coming up here for 2023. Let's talk about some of those projects. What are you expecting for 2023 for projects for the parks this year?
Thanks, Brad. Yeah, as you said, lots of projects, and I keep thinking, this year's going to be busy, and next year will maybe slow down a little, but it just never seems to happen. We just keep going and going. So just some things to highlight. Of course, you have day-to-day stuff that we're always trying to improve in the parks and things such as landscaping, but these are some of our bigger projects in no particular order. But in February, we kind of hosted a mini charrette for our bikes and trails master plan through a MnDOT active transportation grant we got. That should be wrapping up here in April, end of April, early May. That we'll be able to get out to the public, and it'll just help us plan better for the future. We know we have lots of support from the community for our trails and stuff like that. And if we can just encourage being active, that's just the healthy thing to do too. So we're going to be looking to add a picnic shelter pavilion with some storage kind of on the back of it at the amateur sports complex. We'll be bidding that out here in the next month or 6 weeks. Kind of the final phase of the amateur sports complex out there by the Red Baron. We'll provide additional shelter space for people to rent, but also some shade for the people that are attending for tournaments during the summer months. Just to kind of get a place to relax and cool down out of the sun. So look for that to be coming. Of course, next to City Hall, we started it last year, Terrace 1872. We made good progress, but hopefully early this spring and into early summer we can get that finished up. We really hope to kind of promote that and help maybe host small events downtown, either with the downtown business or chamber, etc., just to draw people down. Have some special events there. It'll be a really nice place just to go, and we're relax, hang out, have coffee, have lunch, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Inclusive playgrounds has kind of been a big thing that we've been working on. Of course, in 2021, we did Legion Field. That was our first one. Last year we started at Independence Park and then ran into winter weather, so we didn't get as far as we were hoping, so we'll wrap that up. We're adding 3 inclusive components there at Independence Park, and then hopefully we can even do another edition at Justice Park this year too. If time allows, either probably late summer or maybe into early, late fall. Another construction project, I just got the final draft this morning. We're working on an outdoor recreation grant for at Independence Park that would construct new restroom, the main restroom there, and then also the main shelter, that gazebo shaped. Both of those are original from 1988 and 89. They're wood, they're rotting.
Yeah.
In need of replacement. So if we don't get the grant, likely we'll build the new restrooms, but if we get the grant, they would have matching funds so we could do the restroom and the shelter all in one kind of project. So
Sure.
It'd be great to get done. We're also kind of wrapping up what we'll bring to City Council, the final report from an indoor rec study that we did, in collaboration with kind of the YMCA, and just trying to figure out what our needs are now, what's maybe missing, what's the needs of the association, and then not only that, but what's the future of recreation look like. We don't want to build something for only today. We need it to last. So that'll be forthcoming, and that might take a couple years to get kind of all put together and to actually see something, but there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that has to happen in order for it to come to fruition.
Yeah.
We're also working on doing some updates at Legion Field, kind of our premier baseball field. As we know, utilized all summer long, spring, SMSU uses it, the high school, and then numerous associations of different ages. We're looking at doing some enhancements there, kind of like an elevated viewing deck, new concession stand, bathrooms, taking down the backstop and putting in netting instead, just for visibility. All kind of about the user experience, and hopefully draw some additional tournaments that we aren't able to, which will bring people to town. So another thing we're working on, not so much it's kind of a big project, but not a big project construction. We're kind of just working on revamping our website for the parks, so that when people want to use shelters or rent tents or the stage or stuff like that, it's a lot more user-friendly to go to our website, where now you got to call in or email, and if you're planning on a weekend, that doesn't work. So we're just trying to make that user experience a lot better for everybody. So that should be coming out hopefully this spring here.
Yeah.
So lots of different things, and of course, like I said, day-to-day stuff that just happens constantly. So.
Yeah, so you touched on Legion Field. I'm there a lot. My son's a senior baseball player. So quick question, you didn't mention the bathrooms. I'm assuming you're referencing the ones within the stands. How about the standalone ones that right by the river?
So ideally, once we get this new facility done with the new restrooms, it would replace the existing under the stands, and also the one by the river would just go away. Just from an accessibility standpoint, there's steps going in, and it's just dated. So I think we could just kind of build one new facility and get rid of the rest. So
okay, good enough. And for those that don't know what Terrace 1872 is named after, do you have those details?
Yep. So 1872, when we did it last year, we celebrated, I'm not even going to try to say the word, but the 150th anniversary of the city. And Terrace is just it has a few different meanings, but it's a landscape area next to a building. So if you kind of put the two together, that's where it derived from. So.
I never tried that word either. Each time I'm on here or I'm on the radio, I don't even try. So good. Well, that's good information. Speaking of restrooms, it's not great weather this week. So today's Tuesday the 8th. We're expecting some more snow, but soon enough we got to get out to these parks. When do those bathrooms open?
Yeah, great question. We get this question often, and it's really not a cut and dry answer, because weather like we've been having, it hasn't warmed up much. Even the extended forecast doesn't look that warm. So we really kind of play it by ear a little bit, but generally speaking, April 15th is what we shoot for to open up the shelters and restrooms. If it's still cold, there's still snow on the ground, it's really muddy, we're going to do it as soon as we can after that. And likewise, kind of the same situation with the fall, whenever it gets cold or below freezing temps, because these restrooms aren't insulated, so we don't want any pipes freezing, et cetera. Generally, we shoot for October 15th, and sometimes we get a cold snap and we have to close them, and then it gets nice again, and people are kind of, why aren't they open? But it takes a lot of time to winterize and put everything back together. So once they're closed, they're kind of closed.
Sure.
But generally, April 15th to October 15th, weather permitting. So.
We talked about the job fair at the high school a little bit earlier, and regarding summer staff. What does the staffing look like for your department? And if somebody wanted to apply, what's the best way to do it?
Yeah, great question. So the staffing between the park and recreation, year-round we have 9 full-time employees. And throughout the course of the summer and the winter months, we're pretty much hiring all the time. But we have over 150 employees that are, working for certain events or certain seasons and on and off. But, we're always looking for help. There's always projects going on. There's always events going on, leagues going on. So the best thing to do is to look on the City of Marshall website. I think there's a tab that says job postings, or follow us on like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We usually try and push stuff out on there, but almost always we're looking for help.
Yeah,
so it's fun work, and gets you to see some different things.
Yeah, you get some sun too, right, in the summer?
Yeah.
So speaking of the sun in the summer, the Marshall Aquatic Center is always looking for help. And we've made some small progress so far for the first couple steps. I think it's like a 6 or 7 step process to get this thing approved, right? Which would hopefully get to the voters in November. Where are we at with the whole aquatic center, the new aquatic center?
Yeah, so as we know, we have a very dated aquatic center, and we are currently being cautiously optimistic that legislation will approve a sales tax extension request. And what that means is they have to okay us to be able to go to the voters and ask for approval. So we should know that by the end of May. And if that goes well, we will certainly have public meetings and get information out about costs and the sales tax and what it means for everybody, which we're just extending the current sales tax, not adding a tax. And I think that's the big thing for people to understand. When you hear tax, everyone gets kind of scared, but we're just extending what's already there. Not going to cost us any more, just stay longer. And then in November, we'd be able to go to a special election and vote on approval to extend the sales tax. If that would pass, we would finalize our design of the new aquatic center with the hopes to bid in early 2024 and start construction in spring or summer 2024. And then, of course, it won't open until likely the swimming season of 2025.
Right.
So it's going to still take time, but costs are going up. So every year we can't get it done. It's harder.
Right.
So hopefully, like I said, we're being cautiously optimistic, but I hope this year's our year. So.
Right. So a few things on that. I remember when the survey went out about the aquatic center, I think it had like 77% approval from the survey results. So there's a lot of support for this. It's much needed. It actually brings people into town. Right now, we're losing some people going to other aquatic center. We want them to come here. We want the people from Tracy and Pipestone to come to a really nice aquatic center in the Marshall area. So let's talk about where it'll potentially be. You said the construction potentially be in the summer of 2024 if this all in a perfect world. But then there's some discussions that are happening on the current site, which means there would be no swimming at all, or have it off-site so we can start it somewhere and keep the other one functioning while the new construction happens.
Yeah, so we started with our engineering firm, Stockwell, and our original plan was to focus on the existing site, but to get the needs that the public is asking for, trying to lay that out in there, just not possible. And then just with the river and Legion Field there, we're kind of landlocked. So we do kind of have purchase agreement to purchase land if the sales tax goes through, which would likely mean the new aquatic center would be built right by Schwann's corporate office and like across from Arnold Motors in that green space there.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
And that not only is it good visibility, but it allows our current facility to stay open until construction's complete. So there's a couple pros to doing that. And, of course, with that comes some added cost to buy property. But all of our parking lot we'd have to reconstruct at Legion Field by the existing pool. It's almost a wash of what that new parking lot would cost versus already having one to utilize. So at the end, that part kind of evens out. But visibility, a lot of people, when you say we're by the aquatic center, they say, "Where's that?"
Right.
So,
right.
This you won't be able to miss it. So.
Yeah, I think your department back there would have some really nice space to expand to as well.
Yep, we need that.
So talk about collaborations, partnerships. I know you rely on them quite a bit. Funding for projects is always a challenge. Can the city? Let's talk about the collaboration partnerships first, and we'll get to the second part of that question.
Yeah, nope, that's great. We, the city, and our department rely heavily on collaboration in so many different people. It could be, the university, the school district, businesses, associations, and I think Marshall's really good at, coming up with kind of out-of-the-box thinking and how it works for everybody, and that's what we want. We want to be able to, if it makes sense for the university or the schools or these associations in the city, but we're really good at that, and it helps build the associations too, and those partnerships are key, not only now for support, but it helps you get support, down the road next year, following years, et cetera. But almost on a daily basis, there's some kind of partnership collaboration going on, which is great. So.
Yeah. Every once in a while you hear about these projects that you're doing, you're like, and in just side discussions, I'm sure coffee talk is like, I just wish I could just give them a donation to help with some of their projects. Is that a possibility?
Yes, absolutely. So just a couple ideas of things we've done just like that. A couple of years ago, we opened the archery park.
Oh, yeah.
Was brought forward by a local resident and funded mainly on donations. The inclusive playground we talked about earlier, the one at Legion and the one we're doing at Independence, solely on donations, not any tax dollars spent on that. You take a look like Memorial Park when we did that.
Carter's Court.
Carter's Court. I mean, there's a lot of things that we wouldn't be able to get done without the generosity of people, businesses, et cetera. And there's new stuff. We're just going to be working. Most people probably wouldn't even know yet, but on a disc golf course. We want to do that with all donations. Hopefully we can build that this year. Things like the Legion Field upgrades. We'll likely be seeking some fundraising and donations, maybe sponsorship possibilities. There's so many different avenues to go about it, but overall Marshall is just so generous. It's just a great relationship, and it helps us get stuff done that we probably wouldn't otherwise, So it just makes Marshall a better place, and it's really fun to go out and talk to these people and tell them what we're working on.
Final question, tell the viewers what you're looking forward to most for this upcoming 2023.
I think there isn't just one specific item, but when we're talking about doing all these projects, it's we got a lot of things going on, and I think that's great. It means we're moving ahead, and we're planning for the future, and trying to meet what families and people want now too, and just getting out and being able to tell people what we're all working on. It's a lot of fun, and kind of get to showcase our community. And then when you get to host events, like tournaments or stuff like that, to get the feedback from those people visiting, just wow, this is really nice, or your town's so clean, or et cetera. They just know you're kind of doing the right thing. So nothing in particular. There's just always more projects, and it's just fun to see them on paper and then come to be in front of you.
Yeah, so. It's just progress is what it is. And you have done an amazing job. Appreciate all the work that you do, your leadership, and of course all your amazing staff. Again, if for those that are interested in applying for summer staff, there is links all over the city page, community services. whether it's for the aquatic center. My daughter is considering the aquatic center, which can roll over to the Red Baron during the cold months. So it's a really good avenue to go for summer work. So let's talk about some things going on here in the month of March. Speaking of progress, tomorrow, so today, as I think I mentioned, is Tuesday, March 7th. Tomorrow is the State of the City address. A lot of the things that Preston just touched on will be presented there. The State of the City is actually its 5th year already, and Mayor Burns and City Administrator Sharon Hansen will talk about all the things from 2022 and what to expect for 2023 when it comes to park and recreation, when it comes to economic development, and all the good things that we have for this year. I'm excited for this year. Kind of your point, Preston, I think there's a lot to expect for 2023.
Yeah, I agree. It's like I said, good to see progress. There's road construction projects. There's enhancements. We got to kind of keep with the times.
Yeah, absolutely. A few other things in March we'll touch on. Traveling Trivia is officially back. Rob Anderson is with Push Play Entertainment, and he has done it a couple times. He's been at Fuzzy's. I think he's been at the Gambler. So next Thursday, the 16th, it'll be back at Tavern 507. So go out with your friends. It makes for a fun night out. The annual Shamrock Shuffle is at the Marshall Area YMCA on Saturday morning, the 18th. It's a 5K. This is a fundraiser for the YMCA. If you're interested in running, it's not too late to register. Call 532-YMCA. The last event on the Action Ice at the Red Baron Arena is coming up on Saturday, March 18th, same day as the Shamrock Shuffle. It is the annual Southwest Figure Skating Club performance. The theme this year is skating through the decades. Performances are at 1 and 7:30 on that day. And as I mentioned, it is the final event on the action sheet of ice that comes off for the expos, and I'll touch on an expo in just a second. The second annual CEO, which stands for Creating Entrepreneurial Opportunities, and CIE, which is Center of Innovation and Entrepreneurship, Student and Entrepreneurship Conference is set for Friday, March 24th. These students here on campus and over at Marshall High School, they're going to be doing their business pitches. We're all about trying to get more young youth entrepreneurs in the area. This is going to be a business pitch competition right here on campus. It's exciting. There's going to be also going to be a panel of entrepreneurs. We're going to be doing some tours later in the afternoon. If you're interested in hearing more about what these young entrepreneurs are, give me a call at the chamber office and we'll get you set up. Let's get back to the expo. It is going to be one of the final things we'll touch on, and it's going to be the Culligan Water Home Show. It's going to be at the Red Baron on Saturday, the 25th, and Sunday, the 26th. 9 to 4 on that Saturday, 11 to 3 on that Sunday. Preston, I know there's a lot of interest in this. I know there's a lot of businesses signed up. People are excited to get out of the house.
Yep, it's good, and it's a way to kind of start thinking spring. So hopefully the weather's kind of warming and start planning those projects and seeing what new stuff has come out and what the local businesses have to offer.
Yeah, I've told Heath on the radio a couple of times, I think it's going to be in the 60s. So come on out for get out of the house and see all those businesses and see what they have on display. Final event we're going to talk about, it's actually on April 1st, but we won't air on April until after. It's going to be the 40th annual Lyon County Pheasants Forever Banquet. This is going to be at the Red Baron Arena as well. If you're interested in this event, there's going to be like a silent auction, live auction, really good networking. Go to the Lyon County Pheasants Forever website. They actually have a QR code. All you have to do is scan the QR code, and you can get your tickets that way. So thanks to the Pheasants Forever volunteers that are putting together another fun event for that night. So a lot of things going on, folks. That's a very busy month of March. Of course, April, we're going to start seeing spring sports if the snow ever melts. Prairie Home Hospice Ball is in April. There's a whole lot of things going on upcoming, and a lot of things going on in the Red Baron Arena, I think even in May. In April, we got the World Fest, and of course we have the beer vendor event, all sorts of things. You can find all these events on our website at marshallmn.org. You can go check out our friends at visitmarshallmn.com. They have a lot of the events too. So before we sign off, these coupon books are out. They've been out for a month and a half. There's $5,000 worth of savings here. It's a $30 book. There's $50 coupons in here, $25 coupons in here. You're actually losing money by not buying a book, to be honest. So stop on in. You'll see on the screen now all the other partners we have that are helping sell these books. And oftentimes, if it's a nonprofit or like a youth group, they get to keep $5 for every book. So keep that in mind too. So, with that being said, Preston, that's a lot of things that we talked about. I appreciate you being our guest this month.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Next month, Michelle from the Marshall-Lyon County Library will be our guest. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in April.